So it depends, but it's the third, well, it's the new second question of the writing section. So let's see. Okay, guys, so we're gonna start by watching this video that explains a little bit of this new question. Okay, so let's watch.
Hello again and welcome back to the channel. This is Michael from TOEFLresources.com. In today's video, I'm going to talk about the new TOEFL writing question that will be added to the TOEFL IBT test around the end of July. This question is going to replace the independent writing question on the test. Now, if you're going to take the TOEFL before the end of July, this video is probably not for you. But if you're planning on taking the test at the end of July or later,
Okay, sorry, that wasn't the video. I'm looking for the one that's made by the ETS.
this video might help you prepare for the test.
Okay. Okay, so this is the one.
Question 2 in the TOEFL IBT writing section is the writing for an academic discussion task. Here's what the task will look like. For this task, you will write a post in an online academic discussion. You'll read a question from the professor and responses from other students. This example is a discussion in a business class about advertising. Express and support your opinion and contribute to the discussion. You have 10 minutes to write your post.
Okay, so that's how the new question looks like. So first thing, it's called writing for an academic discussion. Okay, writing for an academic discussion. And as the name says, we are going to be writing for an academic discussion, for an online academic discussion. Now, it's going to look, your screen will look something like this. As you guys can see on the left part of the screen, we have the instructions. So, Araceli, could you please read the instructions?
Your professor is teaching a class on business. Write a post responding to the professor's question. In your response, you should express and support your personal opinion, make a contribution to the discussion. An effective response will contain at least 100 words.
Thank you, Araceli. So as you guys can see, basically this is an online debate. You need to imagine that you're taking an online class, an online course, university class, right? So this is university level. And your professor is going to be the one that appears here. In this case, Dr. Diaz. Now, Dr. Diaz has created this assignment, and which is basically just a debate, okay? What she is doing is, in this part here, she is raising a question. She is raising a question that's something debatable, something for students to debate among each other. Now, the question is going to be here, okay? This is a little introduction to the topic, and then you have the question. So, Adri Orozco, could you please read the question?
Is advertising just a way of manipulating people to buy the things they do not need? Or is it an important source of information that helps people make informed consumer decisions?
Okay, great. So if you guys think about it, this question here that you get is very similar to what we were doing yesterday, right? The question type is practically the same. Why? Because first thing, it's still a closed question. That means that you have very limited possible answers to this question. And second, it's something debatable, right? So in this case, you have to take a position, you have to have an opinion, you have to choose one of the two options, right? The two options here are, so do you believe that advertising is just a way of manipulating people to buy things they don't need? Or do you actually think that advertising is an important source of information? So you have to make a decision, take a side. Well, I believe that it's an important source of information, or I believe that it's useless. And you have to defend your point of view, right? You have to explain why you believe, why you think that certain way. So what you have to do is very similar to what we were doing yesterday and the day before. You have to write something where you express your opinion. You have the instructions here, right? They say, express and support your personal opinion. So that means that you have to talk about what you think and support that opinion. But not only do you have to do that, but you also have to make a contribution to the discussion in your response. What does that mean? That means that there's a reason why they are not just giving you the question, right? If they just wanted you to write your response, write your opinion, they would just give you the question. Think about it. They wouldn't be of this if they just wanted you to write your response, like in the way we were doing yesterday. So there's the difference between this and the one we did yesterday is that in this case, you have to contribute to this discussion. You have to be part of the class. That means that somehow, one way or the other, you are gonna use what you have on the screen. That means that you will be using everything, including this part here, including the question. You need to make yourself or put yourself in the context of this online debate. You have to be part of the discussion. Okay, not just answer the question on your own, but try to consider everything that was said. And they also say an effective response has to contain at least 100 words. So that's the minimum. It doesn't mean that they won't like grade your response if you have fewer words than that. Nope. But that's just like a reference, right? So we're aiming to write about 150 to 200 words. Okay. So that's it. Any questions so far? Okay, guys. So here's what we're gonna do. The first tip that I'm gonna give you, remember that you have 10 minutes to do this. Now, your 10 minutes are not just to write your response. Your 10 minutes includes everything. That means that you are gonna have to read everything and then write your response. So you need to take that into account. That means that it's not a lot of time. Of course, what you have to write is not that long, but you still have a limited amount of time. So what we're gonna do first thing to save some time is in the beginning, initially, we're not gonna read this, okay? Because this is just an introduction that really does not help that much, okay? So we are not gonna read the introduction, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna read directly the question. We've already read the question, right? It says, is advertising just a way of manipulating people to buy things they don't need? Or is it an important source of information that helps people make informed consumer decisions? So you're gonna read the question, and before you guys start reading this, before you read anything that you have on the right, you're gonna think of your response, okay? So what do you guys think? What are we gonna write about? Do we support the first option, that is just a way of manipulating people, or do we go for the other one, that it's a good source of information? What would you say? What do we choose then? Okay, so Mateo says, let's say that it's a good source of information. That's good. So we're going towards one of the options. We're gonna say that it's a good source of information. And another thing we have to do is think of one or two reasons, preferably two reasons, okay? So why do you guys think that advertisement is an important source of information that helps people make informed consumer decisions? Can you guys think of some reasons to support that? Why is it an important source of information? Any ideas? Okay, we have a message. Mateo says facts. What do you mean by that, Mateo?
I would like to contribute.
Okay, Amy?
Well, I guess advertising, it can be an important source of information because, for example, in the case of food, you can obtain the ingredients of food or how ecological the food is through advertising.
Okay. All right, you're giving me an example. So basically you're saying that with advertising, consumers know about the product, right? Get important information. And you have the example of food, okay? Any other ideas?
Maybe about the experience.
The experience, okay? How so?
I don't know, since having the advice of a friend, we already know what to expect from the product.
Okay. So having reviews, you mean having advice from other people?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I think those are good reasons. I mean, the first one, information, I think it's really good, right? We get information from products, but maybe it's also part of the question itself, right? So I don't know. I'm not too sure, but let's think about it. And yeah, what you're saying is also true, but it's also related to having information from the products, right? So we get information maybe about the experiences with the product from other consumers in advertising. Maybe what we could say is that it helps consumers make, it helps consumers by giving them more options to choose from, right? Or maybe by also showing them products that otherwise they wouldn't know, right? Products that they don't know about, maybe. So maybe we could say that it makes them make better decisions, that it gives them more options, that it maybe one really good reason would be that it saves some time, right, with advertisement, because consumers don't have to, when they want to buy something, they don't have to like look for information on their own. Most of the time they get the advertisement like without even looking for it, right? So they get their advertisement on TV commercials or on social media. So they don't have to actually do any research in order to buy a product, right? They just save a lot of time in the process of looking for something because they get a lot of advertisement. Maybe we could do that. You know, when thinking of reasons, I really recommend that you guys go for the most objective reasons you can think of, right? So one of them is always going to be effectiveness, right? Saving time, saving energy, saving effort, saving money. If you could say that consumers save money with advertisement, that'd be great. So saving money, you could talk about, I don't know, those type of reasons, okay? So let's leave it there for a second. That's what you guys need to do first. Think of what you're gonna choose and think of one or two reasons, okay? In this case, we're gonna say that consumers get information from products, get reviews from products, and maybe we could also include the fact that they save time, okay? We're gonna probably use that one. Now, after we thought about that, what you guys need to do is read what you have on the right. Now, what we have here is basically the responses from other students in our class, from our classmates. We are always gonna have two different responses. One response is gonna be towards one side, and the other response is gonna be exactly the opposite of the first, okay? So there's always gonna be one student that is going towards one of the options, and the other one will go towards the other one. They are always gonna disagree, our two classmates, okay? So we're gonna read. Can anybody please read what Karen says? Karen's post. Adriana, please go ahead.
Okay, I don't think most people consider ads to be value. I read that in just 1 year, from 2018 to 2019, the number of computers, tablets, and mobile phones using ad blockers increased from 142 million to 650 million.
Okay, perfect. So is Karen in favor or against advertisement? Does she think that it's useful or is just a way of manipulating people?
Is against advertisement.
Exactly. So she's against advertisement. She feels that it's useless, right? Because people don't consider it valuable. And she has some evidence for that, right? She's proving that people don't really like advertising. Now, what about Brad? Can somebody please read what Brad says? Mirko, please.
Thank you, teacher. People can find out a lot about products from advertising. There is plenty of evidence that people usually begin the process of making a big purchase by looking at ads and reviews. I have to go to another class right now, but I am going to post later about an advertisement that gave me a lot of useful information.
Perfect, Mirko, thanks. So, as
he's
you guys...
in favor of advertising.
Yes, exactly, Mirko, thanks. So, yeah, he's in favor of advertisement. And basically, his reason is what we were thinking of, right? We were thinking about the fact that advertising gives the consumer a lot of useful information. Well, that's basically what Brad is saying, right? That's Brad's reason already. And well, okay, guys. So now that you've read, remember that in the beginning you were supposed to write a few notes, right? So we are in favor of advertisement, and we're saying that it gives us a lot of useful information, good reviews, we said. And I also added the reason that it helps consumers save time, right? So we have two options for our reasons. What we're gonna do now that we have we have read both posts, we're gonna eliminate the reasons that are already taken, okay? Because in your response, you guys cannot repeat what Karen and what Brad said. That means that you cannot write a post that contains the same information that was already brought by one of these two. Your posts should contain new information, So that means that our reason that we were thinking about the fact that advertising gives consumers information, we cannot use it anymore because Brad has already used that reason. So you would have to think of another reason or maybe change the position, but you cannot repeat. Okay? So in that case, we're gonna be using the reason that advertising saves a lot of time for consumers. Is this okay so far? Any questions? Nope. Okay, guys. So let's see how we're gonna answer this question, how we're gonna write our post. So basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna do what says in the instructions. We will be expressing our opinion, supporting our opinion, and contributing to the discussion. Remember, those are the three things that we gotta do, right? Express our opinion, support our opinion, and contribute to the discussion. So here's how we're gonna do it. Let me show you the template we have for this question, and we will be explaining. So let's see. Okay. Okay. So this is it. I'm gonna create a copy so that I don't lose it. Okay. So here's the template. So what are we gonna say? What are we writing in response? We will be having 7 different elements in the response. Okay, we're gonna go one by one. First thing, we're gonna, as I told you before, we need to choose a side, right? We need to choose which student we agree with in this case. So we're gonna base everything on the students. We had Karen, who was against advertisement, right? Karen, who was against ads. And we also had Brad, who was in favor of them. Right? Remember that you guys will be able to see these, right? Right now, I'm showing you a different slide, but when you are taking the test, you will be able to read both of your classmates' posts while typing your response, okay? But just to remember, we will say Karen is against and Brad is in favor. Now, which student do we agree with in this case? Karen or Brad?
Brad.
Exactly. So we agree with Brad. We're gonna call Brad then our student A, okay? The student that we agree with is gonna be a student A. So in this case, Brad is our student A, and the other student is gonna be a student B, the one that we disagree with, okay, guys? So the first thing we're gonna do is tell which student we agree with, and this is the yellow part. And we're basically gonna say, I completely support a student A, in this case, Brad's opinion. Okay, so that's the first thing we do. It's our first sentence. We will say which student we agree. Now, second thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna summarize in one sentence, in one phrase, as short as it can be, our student, that means Brad's point. So what was Brad's point? Do you guys remember? What was Brad's main point, main reason?
That the ads gave a lot of information and reviews.
Exactly. That's what we were thinking initially, right? But Brad already took that risk. So we will summarize that as quickly as we can. Now you may be wondering, so why are we gonna do this? Remember that we needed to do three different things, right? One was express our opinion. We are already expressing our opinion here. The second thing is support our opinion. We will be supporting our opinion later. But another thing that they asked us to do was contributing to the discussion. Now, contributing to the discussion means, one, showing that you guys understood everything that was given to you. That means that you understood or you comprehend both positions from Karen and Brad, and somehow contributing to that. So what we are going to do is we're going to show that we understood what they said. So that way we're going to summarize first our student A point. We will say, besides the fact that, and here we include a student A's main point. So besides the fact that advertising provides consumers with useful information and reviews of products. Okay, so that was Brad's point, right? That advertising provides consumers with useful information and reviews of products. We are summarizing it, and then we say it is widely known that. So now is when we're gonna support our opinion. You have to add the reason that you thought about. You have to add one more reason to Brad's response. And this reason, as I was telling you before, needs to be completely new. We cannot say the same as what Brad already said, right? Or something that Karen mentioned. It has to be something new for it to be valuable. Otherwise, it's just repeating what was already said. So we're gonna say that advertising saves consumers time, right? That was a reason. So we're gonna say it is widely known that, so besides the fact that advertising provides consumers with useful information and reviews of products, it is widely known that, I don't know.
It could be that social media is one of the best ways to communicate or advertise a product. It could be.
Okay, all right, I like that idea and I think we can totally use it. But your reason, remember, needs to be explaining the why. So your reason is to answer the question. So why is advertising a good source of information, right? So why is it good and valuable for the consumer? Are we answering the question directly when we say that social media is a good way of advertising? Probably not, right? So we are talking about something related, but we are not directly explaining why. Why do we agree with Brad, right? We agree with Brad because besides the fact that advertising provides consumers with useful information, it also helps consumers save time, right? So you guys need to always make sure that you are explaining directly why. So why do you feel this way? Why do you think that advertising is useful? Okay. So in this case, we're gonna say it is widely known that it also, or that ads, or that by getting ads or advertisements, customers save plenty of time that they would otherwise spend on doing research before making a purchase, for example. Right? So this is our reason. We're basically saying, so besides the fact that advertising provides consumers with useful information and reviews of products, this is what Brad said, we are adding to that by getting advertisements, customers save plenty of time that they would otherwise spend on research before making a purchase, right? So we're saying that besides the fact that we get good information, we also save a lot of time. Instead of doing our research on our own, we just get it and it's delivered to us, right? Is it okay so far? Yes? Okay, guys, so that was our third point, right? Our third element. We are adding our own reason. Now what we're gonna do is talk about the other student. Talk about student B. In this case, it will be Karen, because we need to show that we understood everything, right? Brad's and Karen's point. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna mention the other student, the one that we disagree with, and we will say, well, Karen has a good point when in this case, when she says that, and now we will summarize Karen's main point, okay? So what was Karen's main point? Do you guys remember? I think it was,
I think
sorry?
it was about when people like close the ads on their tablets and computers.
Yeah, perfect. So she talks about ad blockers, right? So when people block ads, some people don't like ads, right? So we're gonna say that. So Karen has a good point when she says that some people don't. You can use contractions here, by the way. Remember, this is more informal than the other essays we've been doing. So this is not an essay, first thing. It's just a post. So you can use contractions if you want. You don't necessarily have to use such fancy transitions. So you could say because instead of since. You could say, I don't know, and instead of furthermore, or but instead of however. You don't necessarily have to have that academic vocabulary, but it's better if you do show some vocabulary, right? So that's why I'm using, for example, instead of saying a lot of time, I'm saying plenty of time, right? I'm trying to show a little bit. Instead of saying before buying a product, I'm saying before making a purchase, right? You do have to try to show some vocabulary. In this case, it'd be great if you guys have some vocabulary related to these topics, right? This is business, a very common topic for the TOEFL test. So you do need to have some vocabulary, like things like consumers, purchase, advertisement, right? So you do need to show vocabulary, but it doesn't have to be that formal, okay? Now, Karen has a good point when she says that some people don't want to receive of some people don't want to receive ads. And
it could be, sorry for interrupting you. It could be that as a consequence, the number of people with block accounts are increasing every year.
Okay, yeah, good, I like that.
Yeah, she showed the number of people with block accounts.
Okay. So Karen has a good point when she says that some people don't want to receive advertisement. And the number of people using ad blockers is increasing every year, right? Okay, I don't want to repeat people too much. Maybe we could say, and the number of consumers using ad blockers is, or the number of users using, I don't know. Okay, let's just leave it with people. Okay, good. So now we have summarized Karen's point. Now that we have done that, what we need to do is challenge that point. Because remember that we are against Karen. So we cannot, I mean, don't even think about it. You can never try to say that Karen is also right? You cannot say that, well, Brad has a point, but Karen is also right, so both of them are okay. Technically, you could do that. I mean, you could be in between and say that it depends or something like that. But the easiest way and the safest way as well is to always go for one of the choices. So in this case, we're completely against Karen. So we gotta find a way to challenge that point. So we're gonna say, however, it is important to note that. And I think that now we can use what you were saying about social media, right? So how can we contrast that point that people use ad blockers? Maybe we could say that we have personalized ads now, right? So maybe people don't like ads because they are not suited for them. But right now we have a lot of customized, personalized ads thanks to social media, right? Or thanks to technology, we could say. So we could go around those topics. What do you guys think? What do I write? Maybe we could say, however, it is important to note that. Okay. The reason behind this maybe we could say, okay, however, it is important to know that the reason why people, or the reason behind this might be that many users get advertisement that is not suited for them, maybe you could say, or that it is not, that's not personalized for their needs. Okay, so however, it is important to know that the reason behind this might be that many users get advertisement not suited for their needs. Not suited for their needs. Now, thanks to technology, we have the advantage of getting ads, of getting personalized ads that are actually very helpful for our I don't know, for our purchase decisions. So we could say something like this, right? However, it's important to know that the reason behind this might be that many users get advertisement not suited for their needs. Now, thanks to technology, we have the advantage of getting personalized ads that are actually very helpful for our purchase decisions. More and more. Okay. So that's it. That's how we are contrasting or challenging Karen's point, right? Karen is saying that people don't like ads, that people use ad blockers. So we are saying that the reason why people use ad blockers is because they don't get the ads they need. But with personalized advertisement, that problem is solved, right? And then we could elaborate a little bit more on our idea. Now, this is optional. You don't necessarily have to do it, but it'd be good if you guys can give some details. Okay, give some examples the way that Karen did, right? So according to this survey, this number of people are using this amount of ad blockers. So it'd be good if we can do something like that. So we're gonna say, for example, and now I feel that we could use social media as an example, right? So for example, social media apps like Instagram, Facebook, TikTok collects real data on our I don't know, on our needs for products and is giving us personalized ads. Yes, Mirko?
I agree with you because artificial intelligence collect this specific data and is essential information about our taste.
So, how do I say it? Maybe we
For
can say
example, with the trends of artificial intelligence that automatically collect data of our taste.
okay.
They can find the best product in function of our necessities.
Okay, good. Uh, okay, perfect. So with the boom of artificial intelligence that automatically collects data of our preference, maybe we can say from apps from social media, apps such as Instagram or Facebook. We could say companies can find the best products based on our needs, and we can get the best, or we can get customized ads. Okay, so something like this, right? With the boom of artificial intelligence that automatically collects data for preferences from social media apps such as Instagram or Facebook, companies can now find the best products based on our needs, and we can get customized advertising. Okay, so the important thing is that you mentioned a couple of details, right? Like Instagram, Facebook, artificial intelligence. We could even give an example. I mean, the idea here is the same as what we were doing yesterday. So you can talk about a personal experience if you want, right? You could say, so I was looking for this product on Marketplace, and the next day I had an ad on Instagram that was showing me that specific product, and it was a great, useful thing for me to buy this product, right? You could be very specific, giving a personal experience, but it's not as necessary as we did before. So technically here, you could use anything you want. This is a general example, right? It's not anything that specific. We're not talking about one specific product, one specific company, but it's something very useful for proving our point. So in this case, don't worry if it's not something that long, that personal. It does not have to be. Okay, guys, it's a lot more flexible. And any questions so far? And well, finally, we have our conclusion per se, and where we're going to directly answer the question. Because in the introduction, which is going to be our first sentence, we didn't really say what we think, right? We just say that we support Brad's opinion. But in the end, as a way to close this, we're going to say, that's why I feel that, and we'll answer the question as directly as we can. So it's important that you guys reread the question now. In this case, let's see what the question was.
Visit the TOEFL website.
Okay. So the question was, is advertising just a way of manipulating people to buy things they don't need? Well, nope. Or is it an important source of information that helps people make informed consumer decisions? We're gonna say the second, right? we're gonna say, that's why I feel that advertising is an important, or is indeed maybe an important source of information, an important and useful source of information. Okay, here. And this is it. This is our response. As you guys can see, it's simpler than the one we did yesterday, right? It's a lot easier, a lot less formal, obviously shorter. And the good thing is that you know exactly what to do. You just have to follow this structure. You have the template, so you know what to do. What do you guys think?
Just curiosity, how many letters do we have in this example?
Okay, good question. Let's see how many words we have. I guess we must have around 170 if we're gonna try to, yeah, I guess no, but we're gonna count. Okay, so let's eliminate these parentheses we have. Okay. Now let's count. So yeah, we have 173. Remember, you guys are aiming for 150, 130, be great, 170. That's a good number. You know, we don't want to really be like 100 exactly, because that's a little too little. So 150 would be perfect. Now remember that we have extended ourselves a little bit. So for example, here in the challenge, we actually wrote 2 sentences. Technically, you just need 1, right? We could basically delete this. We could say, however, it is important to note that now, thanks to technology, we have the advantage of getting more and more personalized ads. And we could leave it there, right? So if we eliminate that part, probably we would have around 150. Because technically speaking, every element should just be 1 sentence. So, or 1 clause in some cases. So you don't have to worry about writing that much. If you have 1 sentence per element, then that's more than enough. Adri?
Teacher, I have a question. Do we have an automatic word counter in the exam?
I'm so sorry, guys, my connection. But yes, I was saying that we do have a word count. So there's going to be this tool counting the number of words that you can write when you're writing the essay or the response in this case, sorry. And it's up to you whether you see it or not, because you have the option of hiding the word count. But you do have that. Any other question? Okay, guys. So this is it. Tomorrow we're going to be practicing. Given that this is such a short response, that we're going to, I think we're going to have the time to practice in class, and we will be doing that. Any no questions really before we go?
I have a question. In the part where we have to elaborate our ideas, then giving the example, we have to, like, is needed to be done that part, or we can not do that part?
You have to do it.
Okay.
You have, in general, the most important part of this response is obviously going to be you expressing your opinion, so saying what you think. I think that advertising is a good thing. And second, giving a reason, so because of this reason. And third, giving evidence for that, right? So show me why, right? So why is it that advertising is useful? So we have to have those three layers. It's kind of the same as all of the independent questions we've had, both in the speaking and in the writing section. So always those three layers: opinion, reason, and details. Those are the most important parts. Now, in this case, we have like that added part of contributing to the discussion, which basically means like summarizing both students' points and so forth. But it is important that you give some details and elaborate.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Any other question? You guys good? And please don't forget today's survey before you leave, please. And I will be seeing you all tomorrow in class.
Bye, thank you.
Bye, thank you.
Bye, Andrea. Thank you.
Bye there.